What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome to another Comic Collector Origins. We are on episode 37. We are moving right along here. I am Justin, aka No Good Comics, and welcome to the channel. Appreciate you guys swinging by, whether you are here live right now in the chat or if you're taking the time to watch this on the replay. I always appreciate the time, so thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you're new here. Subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification so you can see whenever I go live, which is fairly often, I'm realizing. So, putting out a lot of content recently, and it's been a lot of fun. So, and the most fun has just been this very show. So if you're new and you're not familiar with the show, the concept of this is, we always talk about origin stories of superheroes and characters in comics, but I wanted to do a little bit of a different kind of turnaround where I'm talking to the community, the comic book community, and finding their origin story, how they got into this hobby, where they stand with it now, what was their first experience at a Comic-Con and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun. I know I say this every time, but I really have just had so much fun with this show, met so many great people along the way, people that I truly consider my friend now, where once the world opens up, which hopefully we're getting back to soon, if I see somebody out, at a Comic-Con or walking on the street, I can actually just say what's up and walk up to them, and it not be awkward because I've already had the time to hang out and really have that experience with them. So, with that being said, I have a very special guest today who goes by the name Mike, aka Downright Nerdy Podcast. You guys might have seen him over on Instagram. He also has a solid YouTube channel. I put all the information in the description below. And I feel like I've known Mike now I feel like it's been 2 years almost, and a lot of it being from YouTube and things like that, seeing him in the chat. So let me bring him in, and then we'll start jumping into some things. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, Jesse? I appreciate you coming. Let me come on, man.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. And like I was just saying before, I feel like we've connected through YouTube chats for a long time. And then, of course, we brought it over to Instagram and continue to, stay in touch in that way. But this is awesome that we're able to finally set something up. We can collaborate, hopefully the first of many to come in the future. So I appreciate you.
I was about to say, man, it's been 2 years. I'm excited, man. This is a long time coming.
It really has, man. It really has. I remember when you guys first got when you got engaged, and it was on you talked about it on your podcast, and I'm just going back to that because I was listening to the podcast for a very long time, really in depth with everything that you were doing, and that was just some personal life stuff that you were sharing, and I liked that because it was like two sides of you were sharing your comic love, and then you were also just sharing your personal side of your life, and it was a cool way to kind of get a glimpse into knowing you more, to where I did feel like I knew you more, or I know you more. So
yeah, man, that was about a year ago. That was February last year, and because of COVID, we had to push the date a little bit.
Of course,
a lot of the stuff. We're from the Bay Area out here in California, so it's a lot of the venues they tend to book up kind of quickly.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a ton of fun. Actually, one of my on that episode, that was the one where I got that screenshot of the reaction of Riley looking at the ring, and I timed it so perfectly. We're all out with my family, and we're eating some food or just finishing up lunch. But I made sure she took the biggest bite of this, she had fish and chips or something, and then I get down, she just.
So good. So good, man.
that picture pretty much embodies our entire relationship right there.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. So good, man. And congrats again. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you guys got married. But
no, so we're planning for this time next year, because everything, cool. A lot of the venues, they granted the same dates for the COVID year for the next year, for 2022.
So they bumped everything. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Like I was saying before, hopefully we're coming kind of out of this soon. I've just scheduled my shot. I was telling you before backstage. So, baby steps getting there. So hopefully everybody's being safe for now and getting there, staying patient.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, anybody watching right now, make sure you are subscribed to Downright Nerdy Podcast. I put the information in the description below, along with Mike's Instagram page that you can find there as well. Mike, you got a lot of different things going on, and I'm excited to kind of hear a little bit more about them as we go through some of these questions. Before we jump in, I want to say a quick hello to the chat, and then we'll get into some fun stuff. So let's see who we had hanging out. Man, we got 29 comments already. We got let's see, first person in the house, we have my man Copy 801. What's going on, brother? nerdy and fellow YouTube people. Hello, hello. My man Fable's in the house. He was just telling me about another Batman 101 Miracle Molly variant that I have to pick up. So damn, I think it's live right now at 2:00. I can't stop with that stuff. It's so bad. Jamal Cinema, what's going on, brother? Station. Let's see. We got Mike in the chat as well, doing two things, man. We got Alan Climbing Comics. Thanks for stopping in, brother. Always a pleasure to see you here. Let's see. Desired Comics also in the chat. Just had Desired as a guest a couple weeks ago. He's holding a really cool giveaway actually that's based around that video, so you guys can check that out later on his Instagram page. We got John's Comics with Kids. Hello, gang. What's up, John? We also got Just a Little Podcast in here. What's going on, brother? Thanks for stopping in. We got Eric Azores Tiger representing Spine Ticks. Good to see you, my friend. And we also have my buddy Michael, aka Sove. Good to see you as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. You guys make sure you hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. I think we got Comic Book Cuber there. Cuber, good to see you as well. And Unruly Simeon in the house. My man. Peace, brother. Thanks for stopping in as well. All right, cool. So I think we're kind of getting through everybody. If I missed you, just keep the conversation going. Obviously, if you have questions, make sure you leave them in the chat, and I'll ask Michael here. What's going on, Sheena? I went overboard with the Miracle Mile. Yeah, man, I think we're all to some degree diving into it, and I know for sure I've gotten the bug, so I'm buying a lot of Miracle Molly right now. I'm looking forward to it. So, and my man Eric Durant's also here, Station brother, and Morbius. All right, I think I got everybody for now. Clintar, people keep trickling in, so we'll get back to the chat. But let's get kicking off. So, Mike, first things first, I like to always ask the main question here is, where did it all start for you? This comic book hobby. How old were you? What was your environment like? Did you have siblings around you that got you? Who got you into the hobby?
So this is a tragic story. You ready for it?
Oh man,
it's so sad. It is the saddest thing in the world. So I was roughly, I'm not a teenager yet. I'm probably 11 or 12. I don't recall exactly how old I was. My dad was the one that got me into comics when he was a kid. He was born in the 50s, so he started collecting, the early 60s.
Wow.
Around the same time that Amazing Spider-Man and all that was out.
Yep.
He tells me the story, and I asked him, like, hey, can we go to a comic book store? Because I saw some Superman, or was it Superman or some kind of cartoon? I think it may have been X-Men. The traditional that X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, hey, I want to go get some X-Men. So we're at the shop, and I pick out some X-Men. I pick out a Spider-Man. Take it home. We read them. And he tells me this story, this is the most tragic story you'll ever hear in your life. He tells me that I didn't even realize how tragic it was until later in life. But he tells me, when after I used to collect all those comic books, I have every single Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 100, whatever, multiple copies of it. He got them pretty much at the local shop. So most likely, I'm assuming they were newsstands if that was still a thing. I'm not too familiar. And I'm like, well, where are they? I want to read them. I want to look at them. I want to touch. I want to feel them. I'm a kid. I want to mess around. He goes, after high school, I wanted to go study abroad and I wanted to go to Europe and I needed some money. I'm like, oh no, I see where this is heading in my head. Even at age 11 or 12, I don't know. It's starting to make sense in my head. I'm like, well, who'd you sell it to? I was like, oh, my buddy Mark, whatever. I'm like, how much money did you get from those? Because now they're worth whatever, however much. Yeah, he sold 1 to 100 Amazing Spider-Man, $40.
Oh my God.
How tragic is that? And to this day, I never let him live it down. And I've even tried to contact that guy, Mark, and I'm his buddy from college. And still, he's like, oh, dude, stop asking me about this, man. It's like, no, I don't have them. I don't know where they are. I'm like, oh, my gosh. That's so sad.
That's brutal,
so
man.
Sad. So every time my dad comes to the house, he sees the books and he's like, well, you have no Amazing Spider-Man, huh? I'm like, no, I don't. Thank you for reminding me. He doesn't care. He just likes rubbing it in my face. So anyways, from that point on, I decided, like, hey, I'm going to start collecting some stuff just in case, just so I don't have to disappoint my kids someday. you know.
Yeah, right.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of how I kind of got in, and it wasn't Spider-Man I got into; it was mainly X-Men. But you know, obviously since then I've branched out to almost everything else.
Of course, yeah. And and you mentioned the music from X-Men, like, were the cartoons, did they play a role in a lot of this stuff too, or
Yeah, it did. But you know, in regards to like the nerdy space, I guess I kind of clump TVs and movies and things in the same kind of genre. I know it's a
yeah.
more of a specific type of niche comics, but me and my dad every week we watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, and that kind of got me. I'm more of a sci-fi TV show kind of like Star Trek kind of driven. That's more of my passion kind of thing.
Right.
And I didn't really start getting into comics till about like after like around high school. Right after high school is when I started like collecting again, fell off again, and then about maybe 5-6 years ago, started back up.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think you're alone there. I think a lot of people here in the community have kind of gone through that roller coaster of jumping in and out, and life happens. We get that. A lot of different things kind of take us in different directions. I do find interesting that you're talking about films and TV shows, and I know that you are a big fan of a lot of that type of platform with your show and things that you talk about on your channel. And I just like to point that out, that there's that in a way, yes, they do all kind of come together because things influence other things. And, while a lot of people might look at like a comic collector as, oh, the, top-notch nerdy person who just like only did, comics. And it's like, no, they probably were really influenced by, TV shows and, watching cartoons and movies. And especially nowadays with like, Marvel putting out all the films that they've put out. I think that's helped the community grow a lot. I think there's been a lot more people attracted to just comics in general because of that, which is a good thing. We want to see more people in this hobby. So,
well, it's funny. You could even go even further back because before YouTube was really a thing for the comic community, it was mainly just book clubs, like people getting together every week and reading a novel here and there, right? Yeah. Not too many people did that with the comic shop, except for every Wednesday when they went to go pick up the newest book or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it really wasn't a thing until this YouTube thing kind of started entering our lives, right? And really, especially over the past couple of years, like there's been, I remember back in the day when the main comic guys were like John and Rod and Edwin and Perry, and like, man, like these guys, I'm like, they're one of the guys that actually got me into the YouTube thing and wanting to actually do the YouTube, like the podcasting thing. I got my inspiration from other podcasters like Fake Nerd Podcast, Bored and Annoyed Podcast. They are the ones that I used to listen to, like at the gym, things and whatnot. And then when I got home, I'd turn on Rod or John or Edwin or Perry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call them the OGs.
The Four Horsemen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now it seems like everybody's got a channel to some degree, and
so good.
I was influenced too just by seeing a lot of them do it, and I'm like, I want to talk comics. Like, it's just another way that we can talk about some of the things we love. So, no, it's a great point. So do you recall anything? Are you a Comic-Con guy? Have you ever been to a Comic-Con before? And if you have, how old were you when you went to their first?
Oh man. So before COVID, pre-COVID, I had been to 10 of the last 12 San Diego Comic-Cons, the biggest one in the world.
Oh, man.
Literally my one. It was my Disneyland. I went to a couple small cons, but it's such a huge event and costly event that you kind of gotta like save all your money and time for that big event. The very first time I ever went there was, gosh, you're gonna test my memory. I believe it was 2004 or 5. Okay. And I went by myself because I was only able to get one ticket. Tickets were extremely hard to get. Yeah. And I met a couple guys out there, and they said that, hey, is this your first time? You have to do the Hall H line, where you wait in line for 3.5 days just to get into Hall H. Mm-hmm. And at that time, let's see, was it? No, it wasn't. It was. I can't remember. I think maybe it was around the same time that Revenge of the Sith was coming out. So Lucas Films had a panel there. Maybe that was a different year. I can't remember exactly. But all I remember is just waiting in line for 3. It's a what do you call that thing? Initiation, right? To get into to be amongst to be a part of the San Diego Comic-Con. Like you have to have at least sat in that line one time in your life. And the only other time I did it was with Riley when we first met. We went down, we cosplayed. That's one thing I loved about her. We cosplay almost every year that we did cons, and I got her to sit in line for Hall H. That was for a Game of Thrones panel, and
nice.
I don't know if it was worth it for her, but I was like, hey, at least you did it. At least you did it.
Totally.
Don't ever have to do it again.
Gives you a good story, if anything, at the end of it.
Yeah, right.
No, that is very cool, man. I'd love to go to San Diego Comic-Con at some point. I know I've talked to several people in the community and some in the chat here just about doing that, and it's on the list for sure because that is the big mother of Comic-Cons. I feel like.
Well, you're in Jersey. You've been to the New York Comic-Con?
Yeah, I've been there. Yes, I have.
See that I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to go out to the East Coast. I've only been to New York once in my life, actually on the East Coast once in my life. So I've been really trying to make my way out there. And just when I was just getting ready, I was going to do the whole MegaCon in Florida, then COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's not happening. You know?
Yeah. That
way longer.
Change everything up. Man, yeah, you'll have to, as things get opened up again, you'll have to make your plan out here and
absolutely.
Come to any of them. I mean, we talk about this on the show a lot. I tell people the Baltimore Comic-Con one is a really good show as well that I feel like doesn't get as much recognition as maybe it should. There's one called the East Coast Comic-Con, and I like that one because it's more focused on
where's that
comic books. It's right here in New Jersey, actually, right near Giant Stadium, and it's a great. It's actually I feel like it's much more condensed to comic related stuff, not just necessarily throwing in TV shows and actors and everything else. So I do like that they, give more focus there.
To be quite, there's something to be said about that too. While I love doing the San Diego Comic-Con thing, going to smaller cons that are even maybe just a 2-day or even a 1-day Comic-Con, there's something to be said about those great cons. You get to have more interpersonal relationships or in conversations with a lot of the artists and vendors that do go there. And it's actually it's definitely more personal. Me and Riley have talked about this on the show because I've taken her to a bunch of different cons, big, small, whatever you want, everything in between. And to some degree, I do love those smaller shows a little bit better, but San Diego is such a great, because there's never bad weather there. There's always something to do. There's the convention center. Like if my hand is the convention center and then this is downtown, if you don't have tickets, there's just as much outside the convention center as there is inside.
Yeah.
So you can go and still have a great time. You don't have to worry about, being sardined inside with a bunch of Comic-Con people who smell a little off, and
that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, right.
A little
but there's so many different things about the smaller cons that appeal to me as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there, and kind of pros and cons to each side of things. And I can't wait just think everybody we've met now especially through this pandemic era and everybody going more online to connect with each other. I feel like I've just amplified how many more people I know now to where, and I say this before, like, going to a Comic-Con is going to be a massive hangout. It's going to be like, think about afterwards, when you go to the bar after a long day at the con and you meet up with a couple friends, that couple friends is going to be like 30 people, 40 people. Like, you're going to see people.
But that's because YouTube is so stretched out over across the entire world. you got people that are in Australia, in the UK, in Canada, right? You got Varangian Vigilante over in Germany. No matter where you go, you're going to find somebody that is going to be at that con that is part of this YouTube thing, and you're going to be like, oh, dude, hey, let's go. Okay, let me get you a hot dog. Let's go finger through some dollar bins.
Yep. Absolutely, man. And that's what, I just feel like this is going to be kind of this new world in a good way when we do all, open up again. And that experience is going to be amplified even more so. So very cool, man. I love to hear a little bit. Oh, and I wanted to ask you too, on your first time, when you went to your very first time to San Diego Comic-Con, did you go for all 4 days or 3, or was it one day? Was it a 1-day thing for you at that time?
No, the very first time I went for all 4 days. So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday ordeal. What I usually do, I get there it's a Wednesday through Sunday ordeal, because Wednesday is early bird day, where it's a half day essentially. So I usually get in, I fly in Wednesday morning, check into my hotel, go straight to the convention center, and then it's from there on out. It's just a full half a week worth of binge eating terrible food and walking 50 miles a day, it feels like.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get home, you never want to go to another con again. You always tell yourself like this was the dumbest idea in the world, and I'm just never going back. But as soon as you get done, you always Googling on the flight back. All right, should I get next tickets for next year already? Because they usually don't come out. San Diego Comic-Con's in July. Tickets go on sale in November-ish, but the hotels start selling out a week after the con ends. Okay. So, like end of July, you got to start booking those hotels before you even have tickets. There's not even a guarantee that you'll get tickets.
Right.
So,
damn.
Anyways. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for dropping the link too, by the way. Always, he's such a good dude, man.
Oh man, he's always on the ball. Always on the ball.
Always.
I want to say a quick hello. I saw Steve Hip Hops and Me is in the house. Team Nerd Herd represent. And I saw Hyper in here earlier as well, and Magic Lasso in here. What's going on,
Magic
Ryan?
Lasso, man. I don't know how this dude finds time to watch every single video on YouTube. He's always in the chats, always in the leaving. Dude, I'm like, where do you find time, man? This dude must be a millionaire. He's like, there's no way. There's too many. There's not enough hours in the day to watch all this YouTube.
For real, man. And sometimes he's on the show himself.
Yeah, right.
He's
on the show while having like six videos up and commenting or something.
He's got like 6 screens. I just picture all the screens though. He was just a guest recently on this.
I watched it
podcast too. Oh, did you? Nice. Yeah. It was good. A lot of dad jokes at the end there.
Loved it.
Let's see. Sheena was talking about. She said she's never been to a con, but will once she gets going again. Awesome.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people that kind of get a little iffy about this topic, but if you like trying to become one of your favorite characters, I suggest cosplaying at least once. The very first time you do it, like especially when you're walking downstairs from the hotel, you're looking around, the hotel guys, they know, they're like, but you just like, it's your first time in costume, you're an adult, you're like, what am I doing with my life? Like, no, but as soon as you walk through those con doors, man, and you see everybody else, it's the most fun you'll have it's a fun experience.
I can imagine, man. I feel like everybody would just embrace you at that point as you go in, because everybody's doing the same thing. I mean, it's or they're just
have you ever cosplayed?
I have not, but I do feel like I should at some point, and especially what you're saying, like just at least trying it once,
Oh, dude, you got to. If you were to cosplay, who would you do? I know you had to have thought about it, bro. You had to have thought about it. Everyone thinks about it.
That's so tough, man. It really is like maybe like a Daredevil or something with a mask, and kind of go with that setup. Nothing like, I don't know if I'd put a lot of money into it. I know some people go crazy with some really cool fancy outfits.
Oh, you got like Kachung and Delphia. They go nuts.
I love that.
There was a time when I came into this YouTube thing. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to show off some of our cosplay stuff. And then I came across their channel. I'm like, oh, they love cosplay. I like it. They love it.
It's that next level. Stuff.
Yeah, right.
Let's see. Chillmonger, who's in the house. What's up, Chillmonger? Says, I hear the last day is where you can negotiate deals with vendors. They don't want to return home with inventory. Very true. Yeah, that's for any show, really.
It's so hard though, because there are some things where you're like, man, I don't know if this thing will last until Sunday. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because while there is a lot of up pricing that goes on in cons, there are some items where they're like, hey, I'm going to put this at a good deal just so that I can get someone to take this off my hands. So you got to have that like give take and try to take those risks.
Yep. Or at least find the right vendors. I feel like each vendor kind of has their own goals, and
for sure
you catch the right one. Speaking about around the world, my buddy Mercy is here. He's all the way out in Sweden. So good to see you, Mercy. Thanks for hanging out.
Sweden, man. Look at that. Sweden.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep. Very cool.
I wonder if there's any cons. There has to be cons in Sweden.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's mentioned some small things before, but he said nothing as big as.
God, it'd be so fun to go to a small con, like in a different country. I mean, just it'd be fun to do that.
Oh, totally. Different crowd and everything. Extreme Superman says, I shop at Fat Collectibles and or Torpedo Comics. I've been to Torpedo and Fat Collectibles. I love. I consider them an LCS, and I'm nowhere on the West Coast, so they're just good people over there. So shout out to them. So let's talk a little bit about right now, where with the hobby. Let me ask you this: what are you reading right now? What are you currently reading?
I'm pretty much exclusively indies right now. I mean, DC, they lost me about a year ago. I mean, everything actually DC and Marvel kind of lost me a year, but almost a year ago or so. They keep on having all these God, what do you call them? They're the ones where you have to buy like an issue from the tie-ins. So many tie-ins, man. It just gets to be too much. And then DC, they up their prices a little bit, and it's like, I mean, it's really not much. It's like $1, but I mean, that stuff adds up, man. I got other things that I kind of want to do. I've been since COVID hit and when my LCS is shut down, before they started doing the walk-up pickups kind of thing. Like, I mean, I really don't know what I want until I get there and I look at the whole walls, right? So I started reading a lot of trades. I started buying a bunch of trades off of eBay and from off of recommendations from people in the community. And then I only recently discovered Hoopla. And I mean, I don't know where that's been my whole life. And I'm
guilty. I haven't downloaded it yet. I have friends.
Dude, it's great. I mean, you got a library card. You get comic books, novels, movies, TV shows, like all for free.
Yeah.
I mean, and the format is just the same as Comixology or the Marvel Unlimited app. Yep. And I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm whipping through a lot of these graphic novels. I just recently read Swamp Thing, Volume 1. I'm in the middle of reading. Oh, nice. How'd you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I did a thing with Dan from Comic Shop News and Comic Shop Heart, Jennifer. They had a whole little show. John was there.
You know what? I did see the ad on Instagram, the post on Instagram for it. It's on my list actually. But
if you just read it, check it out. We just talked a little bit about what we thought.
Yeah, I got that was recommended to me a while back from my buddy Ryan from the Fake Nerd podcast.
Okay.
And it's one of his favorite characters of all times, and I'm like, how is Swamp Thing that great of a character to you? And after reading it, man, they really delve deep. There's a lot of moral and like so many different issues topics that are embedded in a lot of this writing. I mean, Alan Moore is a great writer.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure. We got Comic Kings in the house.
Comic Kings, what's up, man?
He's another one I feel like I see everywhere. Brandon.
He is everybody's everywhere, man. It's so funny, like everybody is everywhere.
There you go, Chillmonger. Tie-ins need a timeout. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, praise to that right there. You need to highlight that forever.
just a little bit. We got my man Raging Cajun Comics in the house too. What's going on, Raging? The tie-ins are definitely. I totally get that. I too have been more into the indie stuff as of lately. I am exploring some DC stuff now. I was telling you before I'm not as much of a DC guy, but I'm starting to, give some things a chance. And I do like some of the new writers that have like brand new writers, like just started or not, brand new just starting a new series. And, I'm really enjoying a lot of it. So what are some of the indies that you're reading right now?
So I'm finishing up Gideon Falls.
Nice.
I am reading Man's World. It's I think it's by Aftershock. I can't remember who.
They have like 2 issues out right now, right? I think.
Yeah, so there's only 2 issues going on right now. Obviously, I think I'm with everybody when I read Berserker. That was pretty cool. Actually, free on Hoopla. I mean, I still bought it, but it's free on Hoopla.
Good to know.
Let's see. I'm actually doing a rereading of Saga because supposedly it's supposed to come back. We'll see if it ever does. But
nice.
Nice. If they never come back, I'm just going to forever hate Andy from Comic Man Andy because he's the one that got me into it, and because of that ending, I'm just like, dude, if this never comes back, I'll never forgive him for it. I'll never forgive him. Take all his dad jokes to the bank, man. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Comic Kings. I think Saga is one of the best stories out there that's almost ever existed. I think it's one. It's just there's so much relatability with so many of the different characters. It almost doesn't matter who you are, but my gosh, it's such a great storyline.
Yeah, I
mean, it's through and throughout. There's not a single thing about that book, that series, that I don't like. Not a single thing. It's just so well written. God, what's their names? Fiona Staple and Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're an incredible team. I hope that's not the last time that they work together as Saga.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. So I fell in love with Saga when I first started getting into comic books, and that was like 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and I actually didn't catch up all the way just because I was loving it so much. I was like taking my time with it because I knew that they stepped away and, wasn't sure how
that's a great way to do it. Like the first time I reread it, man, I whipped through it and it made me angry when I got to the end. I'm like, okay, when's the next? Dude, Andy, when's the next one? He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Why did you, if you knew this was going to, he knows how attached I get to certain characters. Yeah. And I feel like it was almost like he wanted somebody else to experience the pain that he felt. And I thought that was really messed up. So
yeah, that's rude, man.
If anybody here is friends with Comic Man Andy, you tell him that me and Jackson, another buddy of ours, is mad at him.
Nice. Hysterical, man.
We got Gideon Falls. Oh, another great. It's great in a different way. Like it's more of a mind F. No, I don't want to curse on your show, but it's insane.
Yep, absolutely. What's going on, Joel? We got Joel the Geek in the house. Yeah,
I saw it was a while back though. I don't know if you glazed over. Cookie from Just a Little Podcast, who is a great friend of mine. He's on our show, Downright Annoyed with Movies. He picks terrible movies, but he's still a really good friend. He asked me if I would ever stand in line again for Hall H. So the way that they do it now at San Diego Comic-Con is you actually you enter your name in a raffle. So there's no more waiting in line. So if you get picked for Hall H, you just go when it is, which I think takes away from the experience and the of having to, it's like a rite of passage, you know what I mean? So it's, I'm a little bummed that they did that, but whatever. I mean, because there are seriously some people that wait in line for 3.5 days and don't get in.
Yeah.
It is, that's heartbreaking. Like you spent so much money just to get to Comic-Con. You spent 3.5 days in line, like asking people like, hey, can I use the bathroom, or are you peeing in a cup or something like that? It happens.
Man.
It happens. It's terrible. Pee cups fall and spill and you're just like, oh dude, it's awful.
Jeez. Times are changing. And so let me ask you about, let's show some comic books here. Do you have one or two books with you that you want to show off that means something special to you, whether it's a value or a story?
So for me, I got a couple books that I got signed it was at, oh gosh, you're going to test my memory. It was at WonderCon. It was at WonderCon about 3 years ago. I met, I'm about to show a green label. I don't know if that offends anybody.
No,
I'm sorry in advance. But I got this Darth Maul here. Let's see if I could. Oh, geez, here it is.
There you go.
I've showed this off several times. Whoa. I mean, it's a pretty cool Darth Maul. But I met God, what's his face? The dude. What's his name? Gosh, I love the guy so much. Yeah, Ray Park. Thank you, Ray Park. Somebody help me out here. But yeah, Ray Park. I mean, he's the one that I met. One of the nicest guys that I've ever met. But I got him to sign this. He's super cool. He's super into fitness. Obviously, if anybody follows him on Instagram, he's always doing flips and twists and stuff. It's like he's getting ready for another comeback as Darth Maul. Maybe, hopefully, that'd be awesome. Another one is not really it's not a comic book per se, but. See, I got this here, signed by Johnny Bernthal.
Oh, nice.
See if oh god, this glare's telling me. But
that's dope.
Right here, yeah, man. He's a good dude, man. I spent a good like 30 minutes just talking with him, man. It's a really good. I mean, to me, the most important books are the ones where the people I meet that are associated or had something to do with making it gives me a good one-on-one. It gives me a good experience. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, Ray Park was Toad in X-Men. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. The weird long tongue that all the ladies probably love. But yeah.
What's up, Flashpoint? Chillmonger had a question about the green label, what that means. He said he's not a CGC guy.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's the only books I've ever had sent to CGC. So green label is essentially if it's an unverified signature on the book. Like CGC didn't actually watch Ray Park sign it. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I just want something to protect the thing. Like, whatever. Just send it in. I don't care if it's a green label. I'm not selling it to anybody. It's personalized to me. It means something to me. So I could care less if it's a green label, blue label, red label, purple label, whatever. I don't really care. So
yeah, especially if it's personalized. If you did sell it, you have to find someone named Michael to sell it to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
You really
I'm
got your chances.
not big on getting things graded. I probably should, because I just, when I reset up this whole studio, I started just out of nowhere, just started research, just picking out random books to see how much they're worth, and I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should grade these. I don't know. Like, I know Bruce and Stephanie, they're like, they're talking about Something Is Killing the Children, another great series that I'm reading.
Very good.
I got a bunch of like the very first issues, and he's like, dude, grade those. I'm like, oh, it's such a hassle. I got to put them in like a box. I got to find a stamp. I got to send it off. I'm not very versed in doing that. I really don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Mercy, dude, you met Ray Parker too. Such a cool dude. I'm so glad to hear all that stuff. Like, I'm glad I just didn't get him on a good day. You know what?
For sure.
I'm gonna go off on a little tangent. You know what he does sometimes is he puts on masks and just walks around the con and does his some weird jumps. And then when people like what is this guy doing? And he lifts up the thing and he's like, "Hey, I'm Ray Park," and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so cool." He usually tries to find people dressed as like Darth Maul or whoever, but it's pretty cool.
That's dope. So what about for your collection and what you have going on, and I know as you continue to buy more books, what's your big goal for why you're buying these books? I mean, or what do you plan to do with all of them, years from now? Are you selling them at some point? Are you going to pass them on to family members, or are you taking them to the grave with you?
I probably should start selling them, because I do have some. If anybody knows or follows us, me and Riley just bought a house. So I mean, we literally gutted it. We lived on an air mattress for 5.5 months, which, by the way, is terrible for you. I don't recommend it for anybody. But I mean, we literally gutted it when even this room used to be much smaller, and we tore down walls, like installed new lights and all this stuff, and it costs a lot of money. So, I mean, maybe I might sell them, but to be honest with you, my goals, I read what I buy. So, I just want to read more. I want to consume more fun content, because there's only so much TV and movies that I could watch before my eyes start to hurt. So,
totally.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of long-term goals, I mean, whenever it is I have kids, yeah, it'll be in the will, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it'll help pay for college someday. Who knows?
That's very true.
It kind of depends. I don't have any immediate goals or anything like that. I don't have any grails that I'm hunting. I don't have like a hunt list or anything like that. I go to the shop. I look and see what interests me. If it's something like a Gideon Falls or Something in Killing the Children, I'll be like, "Hey, can you put this on my pull list? It's a good story." Yep. If not, I'll usually read the first 3 issues of anything to see if it's any good. If I don't like it after 3 issues, actually about 6 issues, because usually that's like a first trade, right?
Like an arc.
So yeah, like a first arc. So I'll wait for the first arc. But there are some weird books. Like I was trying to get into, because I like the movie 30 Days of Night, for example.
Mm.
I like that. I like the movie. I thought it was an interesting movie, a different kind of take on vampires. And I tried reading the trade. The artwork was just, I couldn't get into it. I didn't like the writing. It was just one of the few instances, in my opinion, where the movie was better than the book. Perry, what's up, buddy?
Right. Perry,
always lurking.
It's a good point that you say that it is most of the time you would think it's the other way around, where it's like the book's better than the film.
Yeah.
But there are those instances where it can be swapped around. So it's interesting. I wanted to see Mercy said here about Park. He said he did the whole show,
so cool,
staff and everything. That's pretty cool. And Ray just says he reads at least 5 issues. So yeah, I think that's a good kind of rule to have. Yeah, kind of give yourself a chance at something. I know we were talking about Geiger before we jumped on here live, and so hopefully, you're gonna get
I'll pick that up just to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow. All right, cool. So another segment that I like to always talk about, and before we get into some of the rapid questions and all that stuff, is I have a lot of or I always think back to people, as I mentioned before, are getting into this hobby for the first time, and they might not know exactly how to go about this hobby. It might be a little intimidating. There's obviously a lot of books, a lot of characters, a lot of different information that's out there, a lot of people putting out certain things on what to do or what you should do. Do you have any general advice for somebody who may be considering getting into collecting and reading comic books for the first time?
It's funny you say this, man, because I asked the same question to Edwin when I had him on my show, and I've taken his advice to the fullest, where he said, "Man, just read what you love, man. Just if you like Wolverine, you think he looks cool, go buy a couple Wolverine books, see if you like it. If you like space sci-fi stuff, go to the indie section there. Talk to the people at the comic shop, ask for recommendations, you know. I mentioned earlier that Hoopla is something I most recently discovered. There's a section in Hoopla for that says where to get started. Like first time reading comics, here it is. So that's how I figured out Swamp Thing Volume 1. This is the one to read. All-Star Superman's on there, right? You got Frank Miller's Wolverine 4-issue miniseries. You got Frank Miller's Batman trade on there. All kinds of cool things.
All the classics, yeah.
A lot of the classics, right? But it's a good starting point just to see if you like a certain type of character, because a lot of these writers, they understand the character to a certain degree, right? I mean, there's obviously different variations of every writer for every character, but for the most part, like Wolverine, okay, he heals and he has claws. Okay, cool. Batman, he's a real smart detective. Okay, cool. You know, things like that. It's just a different kind of take that different writers have, but they have a ton of good recommendations on there. Not even close to a 10th of the way through all those, but it's been a ton of fun just doing that. Or if you want more advice, man, get on YouTube. Ask No Good Comics. Ask Perry. Ask Magic Lasso. Dude, there's so many people out here like, hey, what should I read? You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's a
lot of resources.
That question. I mean, the resources are endless right now, especially.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's great advice, and certainly something where, like you're saying, kind of, it's really more about like yourself figuring out for you, what is it that, that really turns you on? What is it that you're going to enjoy?
And across all age groups too. I mean, I remember when I was trying to get my nieces into books, I asked John, I'm like, hey, what did your girls read at whatever age, or what did you read to them? And I mean, even on their show, their Saturday morning show, they gave me some things to recommend to go hunt for over at my LCS. And I went there and I was able to find a bunch, and my niece is happier than ever. Now she's drawing like, princesses and stuff, and like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Like all the main characters that they recommended.
Yep, that's awesome. That's a great, I mean, it's a great point too. Just asking friends, like you said, finding people on YouTube and really like the community. I mean, it's like you certainly can lean on people in that sense. Just
for sure,
some ideas. So I think it's great advice, man. I always like to kind of give some advice out there in general. I feel like this is a hobby that people are a little bashful or shy to ask questions. Maybe they feel embarrassed about. So I always like to just bring it to the forefront. Talk about it as often as possible to, maybe help somebody who might have needed to hear that. So appreciate you giving that piece.
No, absolutely. Yeah. It's a great thing to always kind of brush up on,
Exactly. So with that being said, I have some rapid questions for you. So you want to jump into that with me here? Let me pull
Let's
some
go.
up. And again, anybody watching, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We have 13 people hanging in the chat right now. Appreciate every one of you. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and of course, make sure you're subscribed to Michael and his channels there. So I'm going to jump into, we call it rapid. My girlfriend always calls me out because it's not necessarily all rapid. It's some of it we want to hear why, some of it we want to hear a little bit more of background. So feel free.
That's a good thing when you're saying it's going to be quick, but it's not. So
right,
don't worry, you're not disappointing her.
Yeah, right. So let's kick it off with your number one. If you had to choose one, your favorite character of all time.
It's going to be probably Wolverine.
Okay, nice. That's right. Yeah, mutant guy. What about if you could have one superpower? What would that superpower be?
Oh, geez, I want to be invisible, but to be honest with you, I'd probably be super strength, like a Hulk-ish kind of character, or a Captain America. Like I mean, if we're going to be realistic, more like something like that.
Nice. Yeah. That's dope. I like it.
Not rapid.
Yeah, not quite rapid. Who's your favorite comic book artist of all time?
I've been loving Mike Mignola. I just started reading like Baltimore and Hellboy, like that little series. I really like. I love his art style. But I mean, really though, I mean, we just talked about Saga, what's her face? Fiona Staples. Yeah. I mean, she's so good. So good. I can't not look at each panel for like 5 minutes.
Yep. For real. Takes much longer to get through the books.
For sure. Yeah.
What was the very last comic book that you've recently read?
Berserker.
Nice. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? I
thought it was fine. I mean, I think it was. I mean, a little overhyped, but I mean, it was a fun first issue. Not really a lot going on. There's a little bit of backstory, I guess, for like why he is what he is,
right?
And his kind of like spoilers, his quest to try to I guess die-ish. Is that what you kind of got? Be human, be mortal, like have that threat of like, oh, this might be my last, but no, he just doesn't.
Right. He's bored otherwise or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's so far it's a story that I feel like we've already kind of heard already, but we'll see how it is. I mean, it's getting a lot. It looks to be, I mean, they're turning it into a movie or a TV series or something like that. So I think it'll translate well, especially for Keanu.
Yeah, I'll say for a lot of the roles I know that he's played in the past, I do feel like this certainly fits his, kind of style. And I personally wasn't necessarily expecting the some of the violence that's in that book. But I mean, when a dude rips someone's arm off and beats him with it, that's pretty pretty over the top.
I mean, I love all that stuff too. But man, for me, I mean, violence is great when it's violence is at its best when it's accompanied by a story that a well-written story and a well-written character, right?
Sure.
So far, it's just been kind of gore for me. Like I need more character stuff. I mean, I'll give it 6 issues. We'll see.
Yeah. You got a couple more to go.
I'll give it 6. That's about it.
Golden rule. So that's good. All right. What about favorite superhero film of all time?
I'm probably gonna go. I want to say Endgame, I guess. Yeah, I'll just go Endgame. I mean, just because just the amount of time. I mean, 10 years in the making. It's just such a culmination, not only with comic books or with comic book characters, but with film in general. Just that feat in general is just such a difficult thing to accomplish, and for them to have done it over a course of 10 years is just. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, I know it's not a good movie at all, but just to kind of show you how different or how bad a movie can be from how good a movie can be, just look at the Snyder Cut. You know what I mean? It's just they're two completely different movies with the same footage. So like when you see the different, it makes you appreciate different filmmakers' perspectives to a different degree. So when you see something like what the MCU and Disney are doing, it gives you so much more appreciation that they kept this vision over a course of 10 years.
Yeah.
Like DC, I mean, they're a hot mess. They can't keep the same vision for a year and a half, which is funny because I think. I want to say, like, even though I love the movies, I think I want to say I like the characters of DC more than I like the characters of Marvel.
Yeah,
I mean, I know I said Wolverine's one of my favorites, but that's mainly because he's a cigar smoking badass.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I relate to. I whatever. But when it comes to the characters, though, I mean, there's a deeper sense of threat. I think when it comes to DC, it's a little. I think everyone can kind of agree that DC is a little bit darker than Marvel to some degree.
Yeah,
but I mean, like when it comes to Marvel, I mean, like. I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent. Like I already.
No, dude, I love it. Yeah,
what the movie was.
No. I mean, one, I think you can't go wrong with going with Endgame. As you pointed out, there's so much that went into that structure. I do agree that DC is a mess right now with their films from time to time. I also agree that they have so much potential with these characters that you would assume that DC would be killing it in the movie game. I mean, just Batman alone and the enemies that he has is one of the most iconic and just incredible heroes of all time. You would think when you have that in your back pocket, you're like, all right, well, we should be able to just, but hopefully we see some better things to come. I didn't mind the Snyder Cut. I did watch the whole thing. I think it was an improvement for sure than what it was before that. So, but anyways, I think he makes some great points, and I feel free anytime you want to go into a tangent. Go for it, man.
Oh man, how much time you got?
Yeah. Like, well, actually,
No, I talk too much. I've been definitely guilty of that.
That's hysterical, man. All right, let me ask you. Perfect question. All right, if you could go back in time, travel back in time, and buy one comic book off the shelf at cover price for you to keep personally for the rest of your life, couldn't sell it after, no monetary value, you just buying it for you. What would that one comic book be? Traveling back
just to rub it in my dad's face, I go back and take it from him back in the 60s. Just as Amazing Spider-Man #1. Just, I mean, like, hey, no, you cannot take care of this. This is mine. I'm keeping it forever now. That's what I would do. That's probably the only thing.
I love it. Yeah. That's a good one. I have to say, with what you shared, my dad had recently shared his story about his comic books, and because he collected when he was younger too.
Yeah.
And he said on his 16th birthday, he came home to his comic books beat up, burnt, and in the trash because his dad thought that it was a waste of his time and a waste of his, effort.
And look where he's at now.
And look, yeah. But
that's the ultimate, like, you know what, Dad? No, I'm going to prove you wrong. Yeah, got you. But that's good, though. I mean, to some degree, it may have actually motivated him to do that, right? And become super successful is where he at. So, I mean, I'll never question like a parent's like way of doing it, especially when the kid has success. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
no, absolutely.
Well, maybe I will question. Yeah, exactly. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Got to tear up a little bit when you hear it. All right. Let's change it up a little. Some non-comic book related stuff, and I want to start with sports. Are you a sports guy? And if you are, what are your favorite sports and your favorite teams?
I mean, I mean, if you could see right here.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm overall the fantasy football champion over here in the Bay Area. I'm kind of well known, and just
kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. I don't want to say too much, but if anybody here is watching, I doubt they are because they're probably still butthurt from the past few years. But I'm just saying.
I love it.
No, but what you call it? Favorite teams. I'm a Niner fan, even though we suck. Whatever. Niners, Giants, San Francisco Giants for the for baseball. I'm a Sharks fan. A lot of Bay Area teams. Not too big in basketball. I was when I was a kid, but I mean, after I think Jordan retired, I was kind of just over basketball. I haven't really followed it. Other than that, nothing too crazy sports wise. I do have sports memorabilia. I think I do have a Tom Brady signed football. Kind of cool. Nice. He's actually a Bay Area local.
Wow, I didn't know
he grew up over on the peninsula.
Nice. Very nice. So I don't know if you're a Niners fan.
Hey.
I don't mean to break your heart, but I'm a diehard Ravens fan. I don't know if you know that, but I know we had a little meeting a few years ago.
They're pretty cute. Yeah. Yeah.
We had the better brother coach. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree, too. Yeah. I mean, better coach, better connections with the refs. It's all good.
It's all about who you know, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, man, we'll have to talk.
How many rings do you have, though? Just the one? Okay, cool.
No, we got two.
You have two?
Dilfer. Dilfer, he got us one, back in the day.
Dilfer. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the one where he didn't get that. Dude, Ray Lewis got you that ring. Come on, man.
We owe it to Ray for both rings, I think.
For sure.
That's funny. We will have to talk some fantasy football then next year when that comes back up again.
Dude, I'm so into fantasy football that I'm actually even thinking about starting a fantasy football podcast. But
oh my God, dude, you got to let me know, man.
I'm getting that into. I'm that into it.
I love it, dude. I follow a bunch of guys on YouTube, and I do the daily fantasy stuff, like the DFS stuff and DraftKings and all that too.
What do you call it? I actually, before I even started my podcast, I reached out to the fantasy footballers. I mean, they're probably the biggest fantasy football
huge,
guys. Yeah. They're such nice guys. They help me. They walk me through like how to set up like their thing. Yeah, really cool dudes. Yeah, really good dudes.
They're hilarious. I mean, they have so many inappropriate.
I lightweight try to emulate them, but I mean, there's no way that I'm that funny at all. No freaking way.
That's hysterical, man. Very cool, man. Yeah, that's good to know, man. I didn't realize that you were into it like that. So we'll have to.
If you ever want to lose some money, you can always join my league, bro.
I would love to donate, bro. I would love to donate. I love it. All right, let's change gears a little bit. Where do you stand with music? What is your favorite genre overall, if you have one, and who are you currently listening to nowadays?
Oh man, so Riley's from the Midwest, so I mean that immediately attracted me. Like I'm a country dude through in and through out. I was definitely born in the wrong place. But yeah, I'm a country dude. I mean, I love my Alan Jackson. I love my Travis Tritt.
Those are the '90s stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, more of those guys. I'm like one of my favorite lines from Travis Tritt is he turns his radio on and he wonders what for, because country ain't country no more. So it's I'm more old school country, but to be quite honest with you, I don't listen to a lot of music. I'm more I like listening to I like things that give me information. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks. When I'm at the gym, I listen to podcasts.
I was just going to
or audiobooks. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big music listener anymore. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I'm not really too into that music.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned a lot of those '90s country stars of that era, and I was brainwashed by my mom to get into a lot of that stuff. So that's why I even know the names you named, because I grew up on that. Like first 10 years of my life, all I knew was country music. So Garth Brooks and Dunn, like all.
There you
all
go. Yeah,
guys.
I got that all ready if I ever am in the mood. But
there you go. Magic Lasso. He's
I knew I liked you, bro. I knew I liked you.
I'm not alone. Yeah, agreed, Sheena. 90s is
yes, 100%.
Cool. So next thing I want to ask is my list here. Oh, so we got to talk a little bit about drinks and cigars. Where do you stand on this? Because obviously you've had some shows about this stuff, and that's another way I connect with you. So where do you stand with some of that stuff?
I don't drink. I haven't drank in about 10 years, not because I had a problem or anything. It's just not something I enjoy. Cigars. I really enjoy my cigars with coffee. It brings out a lot of the flavors, especially when it comes to or coffee and like a little bit of chocolate. It helps kind of bring out the palate a little bit. It has to be a little bit of a darker chocolate though to help out. But yeah, it's cigars is something that I started doing about 4 years ago. Terrible habit. I don't recommend it, but it's a very fun habit if you ever decide you want to do it. Riley's probably a better person to talk to about that, because she does a lot of wine and cigar pairings as well. So she'd be a good one to do to ask about.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I was starting to explore a little bit of the cigar stuff, and that was when I first saw you on YouTube doing your show and had doing cigars and comics and things like that. And then I kind of
recommendations. You let me know, bro.
I will. I kind of stepped back a little once the pandemic happened and there was no social aspect to it, so kind of stepped away from it. But
for sure,
hopefully we're as we get back to things. I see Brandon saying here we got to start a fantasy football league. That'd be cool.
Dude, I'm down, man. I could always use the money, especially with this new house. So, man, please contribute. Absolutely.
I love it. Trent Dilfer, I love it. All right, last thing here before we wrap up, and then I'll let you share a little bit about what you have going on. If it's a Friday night and you and Riley, you're going to go out to eat, or whatever it is planned to eat, what is your go-to meal? Burgers. Oh man,
burgers.
He knew right away.
Burgers is my thing. It's our jam. We're good. We're from California. We love the In-N-Outs, but we have burgers, good burgers all around. We're burger fiends over here.
I love it. You grill your own?
Sometimes, yeah.
Nice.
But I mean,
but if you go out for a nice juice, you want to. That's always
exactly
good. Very nice. Yep, I'm with you, man. Like a good burger for sure. Cool, brother. Dude, these are the questions I had for you today. I cannot thank you enough for being on this here with me, man.
For sure, man. Dude, thank you so much for having me on, man. This was such a blast, man. I hope we could do it again. I hope to see you on our show too. That'd be awesome.
Hell yeah, bro. I would love to, man.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Speaking of your show, why don't you let the people know a little bit of where they can find you and what you have coming up?
Cool. So right now, down in the description below, Downright Nerdy Podcast on all your favorite platforms and all that fun stuff, podcasting apps as well. I will be changing the brand to My Mom's Basement Studios fairly soon, so you might want to check that out too. But because I'm starting to add in different shows, I got Downright Nerdy Podcast, obviously Downright Annoyed with movies that I do with a bunch of other podcasters, including Cookie, who's in the chat. We got Down the Rabbit Hole, a new fun show that I started doing, and me and Jackson from Bored and Annoyed, we're starting a rewatch of every episode of 24 called the Jack Bauer Chronicles. So make sure you check it out.
I love it, man. I love it. I actually was just on your channel a little while ago, last night, flipping through some of the Jack Bauer stuff.
Nice.
And I,
Heck
I have
yeah.
to say, dude, I watched that first season. I'm not a big 24 guy, but when it first was out, I was, and I really liked that
Nice.
whole thing. And it's probably something I should revisit because I don't know why I really stopped. I think maybe school or like just life happened
Oh,
or whatever.
I hope I'm able to get you back into it because Jack Bauer is the greatest action star of all time. I will debate anybody about that.
That's awesome, bro. Awesome. Well, good stuff. Yeah,
Thank you
everybody in the
again.
chat. Yeah, hell yeah, man. And look, not like you said, not the last time for sure. We'll have to collaborate again at some point.
Actually, real quick, one more thing. It's just another thing that I know we talked about. We touched on briefly, but before the show, big into working out and all this stuff. A big reason why I started kind of making sure, like we talked about, like, hey, I got to earn my way to get those books every week. Something that Edwin, Comic Jabroni, always says, like, be the best version of yourself. So I just encourage everyone to be the best version of themselves and get out there, that's the best way that you're going to beat this COVID thing. Be healthy, go earn those books, and always be true to yourself. So.
Dude, I love that, man. I might take that clip and end the show from now on with that clip because I everything you just said there, man, spot on. And rest in peace to Edwin, man. He was a great one to the community. So I love that you just shared that, man. I appreciate that. Everybody here in the chat, they're showing love. Thank you all for hanging out with us for this past hour. Really appreciate every one of you. If you're watching the replay, which I know there are people out there watching, thank you so much again for taking that time. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to Michael and all his channels and things going on. And we will catch you guys. I'll be back next Saturday with Reggie Collects is going to be my next guest.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Reggie.
Yeah,
local
Bay
Area dude. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. All right, guys. Everybody have a great day. Happy Saturday, and we'll talk soon.